Hello everyone, it's Vincent Hamilton, and I was going to go live on one of my other platforms, and I thought I'm going to give YouTube a try because that's really where I want most of my media to be contained. So how's everyone doing? It's been a minute, hadn't it, since I've been online, since I've gone live. And tonight is March 13th, 12th, March 12th, 2024. And I'm in Huntington Beach, California. It's been a beautiful day, beautiful night. I woke up in Signal Hill, which is a suburb of Long Beach. I woke up in Lakewood, had a rough night, parked in a Home Depot, and it was near a Costco, and they were unloading and loading trucks all night. So I didn't get much sleep. Not complaining though. You know, it happens when you go van life. When you find a good, level, solid, quiet spot. I mean, there's so many requirements. But had a good night. Woke up and drove to Signal Hill. Caught up on some work. I'm looking at the dogs if you're wondering what I'm doing. And caught up on some work and drove to Huntington Beach. Did some grocery shopping and made some chicken and sweet potatoes for the dogs. You guys are like, oh my God, is this guy, could he be any more boring? So my question to you, I guess if there is one, is what would you like to hear? What would you like to know about? And if you're interested in van life at all, you can not only reflect on my van life, but my personal life before I was in the van, and we can tie it all together. So if you're wondering about van life and fitness, we can go there. We can talk about exercise. We can talk about routines. We can talk about cooking, the things I eat from day to day. I don't know how exciting that's going to be unless you're focused on your diet. But what I think would be the best is for me to give you the inside scoop on all the things I know about van life. And I got to tell you, from the information I've gathered and the research that I've done, I have a lot of firsthand experience and a lot of experience talking to other van lifers, RVers, schoolies, ambulances, people who built their van, people who have elaborate vans. Louis, stop! People who have simple vans. Louis, stop! I'm sorry. Stop. Come on. Be a good boy. As you've probably seen me mention in the titles of my other videos, I am a 2-time Project Van Life Summit speaker, and my second speak was Van Life Unveiled, which is now the name of my YouTube channel. And, I think I can give a really good look at van life and what it's like for me. And I got to tell you, my van life is very unique. First and foremost, because of the van that I have. And I'll talk a little bit about that later. But if you have anything you'd like to see, any questions that you have, what I'm referring to is my Van Life Summit speech, Van Life Unveiled. I gave some information and got a lot of positive feedback. So in that, I will say that's probably the most interesting category, or the category I have the most information on, at least at this point. But we can get into cooking, we can get into talking about the dogs, how exciting will that be, and fitness, or whatever, or the things that motivate you. Because I come from a pretty humble background, and I'm very fortunate for the life that I've lived and the van life that I currently live. As I mentioned, I have a van that's rather special. It's a very high-end adventure van made by Airstream, and I'll be talking about it a lot and comparing it to other vans that I see, and the good, the bad, the pros, the cons, I guess. He's just gonna keep making noise. And also I got a lot of information, or a lot of attention from, he's just gonna keep that up, isn't he? That's my big dog, Bako. I got a lot of views on my bulldog video. I have 2 really awesome bulldogs, Bakersfield and Louis Vuitton. Sorry, he was snoring, now he's awake. So, you know, we can have a lot of content on them as well, because we have a lot of fun together, and I treat them, we interact as a pack. And we did that when we lived in the apartment in San Diego, which what I mean by that is we all sleep together, of course, in the same bed. And rather than having a head or a foot or him being here and me being there, we just sleep wherever, however, and that changes multiple times through the night. Yeah. And I'm very fortunate, again, I'll say that, for the bed that I have, which is a California King. Yes, this van has a California King 72 by 84. In fact, someone debated that with me, and at one point I had a 10-inch thick mattress that I bought at one of the large mattress manufacturers. Picked it up. I saved money for picking it up at the warehouse. How funny is that? Because we loaded it right in the back of the van, and we made that noise and we did it too. So, if there's any questions that you have about van life, or any questions you have for me, my background, I'm going to have an introductory video introducing myself and the van and the dogs, and that'll be pinned at the top, and you guys can view it for reference. Okay? So, again, if you have any questions, put them in the comments, and if you're just stumbling upon my videos, please subscribe. My name is Vincent Hamilton. I am 2-time Project Van Life Summit speaker and full-time van lifer in Southern, or in all of California. Been here, been in the van for, oh, how do I get my mail? Oh, hi. That's one of the questions that I answered in my summit speech. That's a very interesting topic. Let me get my water. So let me tell you about this. And I gotta say, it was very complex for me learning this in the beginning. So, first and foremost, a P.O. box. All of these have their pros and cons. I'm going to give you 3 options, okay? And all of them have their pros and cons. So first, we'll start with a P.O. box. Of course, P.O. box is in one location. In order to have a P.O. box, you have to have a permanent address. So you can't just walk into the USPS and say, I want a P.O. box. They'll say, what's your address? More importantly, and I know it varies from state to state, but here in California, you cannot have a driver's license, a vehicle registration, or credit cards or insurance in a P.O. box. And the reason for that is, you know, if I could do that, then I could be in California, have a P.O. box in Ohio, and get my van insurance in Ohio, which would be obviously much cheaper than here. So, the second option, and I'll jump back and forth, is a UPS box. And what UPS has done is they will buy these little industrial offices, these small offices, and put 30 to 50 boxes in there, just like a P.O. box. Physically, it looks like a P.O. box. And instead of putting P.O. box, they put a number on each one of them. So, let's say you were at 101 Main Street, okay? You had a UPS store. Then the UPS store would have boxes 101, 102, 103, 104. And your address would be something like 101 East Main Street apartment, or number 124. So it appears to be, and it actually is by all means, by all circumstances, a permanent address. So you can get a P.O. box, driver's license, credit cards and things of that nature. Are you still with me? Hopefully you are. If not, I'm going to keep going, because this is a good topic. Now, if you have intentions of being in a van or RV or being a nomad of some sort, and you just want to roam free, because the disadvantage of the 2 options that I just gave you is that they are in one location. So if you are, 101 Main Street, Los Angeles, California, you have to return to that address to get your mail. right? Sorry about the snoring bulldog. Okay? So that's the main disadvantage if you want to be a true run-free nomad. Now, the third option, okay? And this is the killer right here. This is the good one. You go to a website, it's escapees.com, like escape from prison, escapees. Escapees.com, and you sign up for their service. And from what I understand, it's like, depending on the level, you know, there's like a silver, a gold, and a platinum. Depending on the level, it's between $25 and $50. Can you forward mail to a P.O. box? You know, I'm not sure. Where would you forward it from? You'd have to have a permanent address first, right? So if that's the case, why wouldn't you just have a permanent address? But, so you go to this escapees.com and you sign up for this service. And the first thing that you have to do is you have to claim a domicile state. And you have three options. You have Texas, South Dakota, and Florida. Okay? Oh, forward it? Okay, yeah. I'll get to that. You have to claim one of three states. Texas, South Dakota, or Florida. So what you would have to do, like if you're, like for example me, I live in California, I would have to travel to one of those states, surrender my driver's license, vehicle registration, all of that, and then be issued, go through all of the necessary paperwork and tests and things for their driver's license and whatever. You know, if I had to have the vehicle inspected, I would have it inspected, so forth and so on. Right? Major hassle. But the advantage, and there's a beeping. I don't know what the hell that is. Oh my God, is she going to run that forklift all night? I'm at a Home Depot. So the advantage of this is that escapees, depending on the service that you buy, the silver, gold, or platinum. So it's something like, the silver is they just take whatever's in your mailbox and mail it to you. So you put in a request, like you say, I'm going to be 101 Main Street, Los Angeles, apartment 124, Los Angeles, California. I'm going to go visit a friend of mine, right? I use the same address, right? So you actually go to visit a friend, and while you're at your friend's house, they send all of your mail there. Okay? Now, the gold service is something like they sort your mail for you. And then the platinum is a higher level of sort. And from what I understand, the highest level of sort is basically you get no junk mail, only mail that's important to you. And I also believe that service is overnighted, and there is, I believe, a maximum number of times that you can do that. So you can't, you know, because it's going to be whatever, $10, $20 to overnight your mail to you. And maybe that's the difference in the platinum and the gold. Silver and gold are 3-day, platinum's overnight. There's only a certain number of times that you could do that, or it would be more expensive than the service. You know, so they'd be losing money. So that's escapees.com. You go and claim a domicile state. Oh my God, Louie. You have everything transferred over to that state, including car insurance. So that'd be pretty good for me. And then escapees.com will sort your mail. And I'm not an employee of those or advertising for them. They'll sort your mail and send it to you. The problem with the UPS box, and I understand what you're saying. So you're saying, you know, if I have a little box at the 101 East Main Street, 124, can I just have them send that to my friend's house in Ohio? And the answer to that is no and yes. Okay? So the no is they will not do it for you. The yes part of that is that you can have a friend at the physical location of that box, have a friend go and get in the box, get the mail out, and send it to you, which they could right from that facility because that's what they do. They ship packages and receive packages. Also, let me digress a little. The big disadvantage to a PO box is they do not deliver packages. Amazon, UPS, FedEx will not deliver to a PO box. They will deliver to a UPS box. Huge difference there. Okay. So, going back to escapees.com, I believe that's the difference in the service, is one's an overnight, one's like a 3-day. I'm sorry. You could have a friend get your mail out of your box, and what you have to do is when you're at, it's the same as a PO box. When you're at the post office, take your friend with you, and they have to show their ID and sign like a release form and all of that, saying, yes, I'm authorized, I accept responsibility or whatever. And then they could just take the mail out and send it to you. Was that simpler than you thought, or more complex? And I got to tell you, I've talked to a lot of people. Maybe you can tell that I like to talk. So like if I'm in a Walmart parking lot, and I did this a lot when I was in Arizona, because people are really friendly there, whether they live there or not. Literally, I'd be looking out the window, and if a camper or whatever rolled up, I would go out and talk to them. You know, no matter the magnitude of the camper. DoorDash. So we're going to talk about work from the van. You can DoorDash. The problem that I would have with DoorDash is that I would spend more money in fuel than I would make through the service. And what I mean by that is my van is I have a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter. It's a 3500 XD EXT 4-wheel drive, high roof. So it's 24.5 feet long. It has the dual rear wheels, and it is lifted in 4-wheel drive. So, not bragging, I'm just saying that's what the van consists of. So, and you know, it gets like 13.8 miles per gallon average is what I got when I reset it at like 14,000 miles. But if I drive it around the lot in the city, it's like 11. And I have a friend that has an old, I think it's a Dodge van, and her van actually is an old carbureted like 318, and it actually gets worse mileage than mine. See how I go off the topic? And I also know from a friend who DoorDashes, and maybe you have more experience with this than I do. I have a friend that DoorDashes, and she tells me that you have to be on in order to get orders. And I know this is true, like with the TaskRabbit app that I work off of. In order to get orders, you have to be on at certain times and for certain lengths of time, and you have to be fairly frequent. So she was saying, you know, I was talking about, could you be in the van and DoorDash potentially? And she's like, well, the problem is, you know, you would have to do it consistently to have a consistent demand. So if it's something that you took off, oh, can I order DoorDash? Yes. In fact, yes, I have a friend. Oh my God, totally off topic. I have a video, and people interpreted it mistakenly. I have a video of a guy living in a car, and I believe I referred to him as homeless, as I refer to myself, because I don't have a home. I mean, my van is my home, but I don't have sticks and bricks. You see, I'm trying to back out of this already. I have a video of a guy ordering a Domino's pizza. And to me, really what I was laughing about when I said it starts out like, now I've seen it all, I'm talking about the technology. I'm 56 years old, okay? And, you know, like back in the day, to think that you could be in a car on the side of the street, order a pizza where you're sitting, and the Domino's guy bring it right to your car. That's pretty mind-blowing, okay? So in the beginning of the video, I say, now I've seen it all. A homeless guy orders Domino's pizza. And it was kind of funny. I wasn't making fun of him, but so yeah. to answer your question. Yeah. I've never done it. I have not done it because I eat, there's a Class A pulling in. I eat pretty healthy. I mostly, well, I just eat basically chicken breast and rice, sweet potatoes and egg whites, whatever. So, you can order DoorDash. Like right now, what I would do is I'm at a Home Depot, and you could drop a pin, or you could just order to the address of the Home Depot and say, I'm in a van in the parking lot. I've seen it done. I've seen people pull up like Drake. My van has a microwave, a 2-burner LP stove, a full refrigerator, and freezer. And I have a 6 feet of cabinetry, cabinet top. So, I have some food prep area. Do you have any other questions? Are you still there, or did you fall asleep? Fell asleep? I don't believe me. 2121. Have to look that up. Angel numbers. So anyway, are you a subscriber of mine? You didn't know what you got yourself into, did you? Yes, I have a 32-inch TV, and it's a smart TV. So what I mean by that is, you have the apps and stuff. You don't have to have it physically wired. And I have, for internet service, I have a PepLink router, which was another question that people asked me about. That's in the top 10. I have a PepLink router that delivers, on a good day, 300 megabits a second. Yeah, I live in my van. Yes. So the PepLink router puts out 300 megabits a second, and I just fire up the TV. I have a PlayStation 4 Pro installed, and one of my favorite video games, I really only play one, so I guess that's my favorite, is MX versus ATV. Ricky Carmichael, I think, was the last one. There's a new one out. I can't remember what it's called. So I don't watch TV. I stopped watching TV a couple of years before I decided to go van life. And van life for me has been it's been a journey of growth. So, I didn't move into a van for financial reasons or whatever. In fact, this is more expensive than my apartment, and my apartment had a view of the beach in San Diego. So, yes. And thank you for being a subscriber. So yes, I do have a TV. It's a 32-inch. Most of the time I'm on my phone. I don't really watch movies or whatever, like I said. And this van, just to throw in more information than you need. Yep, it's a midlife crisis. I hope this is midlife. I'll be 112. I hope I do too, and I believe I have. So this van has a regular TV antenna. What's it called? UHF. It costs more. How? Yeah, this van is the MSRP on this van is $238,000. And I'm not sure where you live, but that's cheap here in California. I mean, not for the van, but for a house. You never find a house for that. Yes, Trump 2024, absolutely. So this van was $238,000, and of course it has different finance options than a house. So in other words, you can't finance it for 30 years. The maximum is 20. So they require a minimum of 10% down. So that's 20 grand. And with 20 grand, the payment's something like, and I have, excellent credit. The payment's right around $1,800 a month. And, a lot of people talk about saving money van life. And of course, in my situation, it's a little bit different because of this van. But I really don't know who started that rumor, who started that myth. because the thing is, this is pretty deep if you're still here. Yeah, so here's the thing, okay? My van gets pretty good fuel mileage compared to other vans. Like I said, my friend has a regular, like a Dodge extended van, and it gets like 10 miles to the gallon. If you convert a schoolie, they get between 6 and 9, and an ambulance is about the same, okay? So, in other words, 13.8, what my van averages is going to be about the best that you can do. So, for me to spend, right now, I'm not traveling a whole lot. I'm working off of a Tasker app, TaskRabbit. So I just drive from job to job. And just driving from job to job within a couple 100-mile radius, I'm spending, and this is really a very light estimate, about $650 a month in fuel. So I'm going to say, if you travel any at all, it's going to be about $50 every day or a couple days. And because when I was running free in this van, it was nothing for me to put a tank of fuel in this every other day. And that's $140. So if you go to an RV site, at least here in California, if you go to an RV site, you're talking a minimum of $35 a night to stay in an RV spot, okay? And that's without any hookups. So if you had electricity and water, you're talking a minimum of $55 per night. And there's a lot of problems with RV site to RV site besides the expense. Now, what people will tell me is they'll say, well, hey, if you stay at an RV park for a month, if you get the monthly plan, it's a lot cheaper. And it is. And the cheapest that I found around here, and this is in the middle of nowhere, is about $800 a month. Okay? So the problem with that is if you get an RV site and rent it by the month and just live in your RV, that's not really van life. You're just living in a van. You know what I'm saying? So the other alternative would be to be in a van and to not spend anything on fuel and to not spend anything on a campsite. And if you did that, then that would obviously reduce your expense. The problem with that is you're going to be in a van in a parking lot. Now, is that nothing wrong with that? I see it a lot. But I have an idea that what you want is to travel around and see things and experience things. And if you do that, you need to price fuel and campsite. Okay? So let me go into that a little bit deeper, okay? Because this is a myth that I need to bust, okay? Hang on a second. So right off the bat, you're going to say, well, Vincent, you got this big expensive van. I'm not going to buy a big expensive van. So, okay, my van life's not going to be as expensive as yours. But wait, here's the thing. As I mentioned, you cannot finance this for 30 years, but you can for 20. Now, let's say you want to buy a van of your own, and I'm talking about a regular van, and convert it like a Dodge. You're talking for the van itself, 30 grand, okay? A converted one about 60, 65. Now, how long are you going to finance that? So what I'm saying is, when you go to finance that, depending on whether and if it's used, you're not going to do 64, 72, 84 months. You're not. You're going to do 60 months, okay, if it's used. That's all they're going to finance you. Or you're going to pay a huge penalty in interest. My point to this is, you're probably going, Vincent, I'm not going to have a big expensive van. I'm not going to have a big expensive payment. Cool. Sure. Makes sense. But if you buy and I know this from when I had legit Jeeps, I had a Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk that was $69,000. Okay. And we financed it I had excellent credit at the time. And we financed it for 60, what was I saying? 60 months? 5 years? Okay. And the payment was $12.46 a month. So, boom, we're right back to where we were. So you're talking $1,300 if you have a $65,000 camper, $70,000 camper. Let's just round up a little bit. $70,000 camper. Okay? You're talking a $1,300 a month payment. And you're going to go, why is it not that much more than, wasn't your camper? Yeah, my camper is very expensive, but I financed it for 20 years, not 5. Okay? So you go, okay, I'm not even going to spend 70 grand on a camper. I'm just going to buy a damn van, just a Ford E350. Okay, that's been converted. You're talking, for one that's even halfway decent, you're talking 40,000, 30,000. I'm 30,000. I'm cutting it. I'm really cutting into it. The E350s that I see are about 60K that I like and used. So even if you got down to, and I'm going to go rock bottom minimum, all right? Let's say $20,000 van. You bought this Ford E350 with 170,000 miles on it, okay, for 20 grand, right? So you're still talking $400 or $500 a month, okay? And then it's a van, just like my friend's, that gets 10 miles of the gallon. Okay, you see where I'm going with this? So where is the money saving? Because people keep talking about this, and I'm going, how are you saving money? So unless you're in a $5,000 van going nowhere and not in an RV site that you have to pay for, so unless you're in an E350 cargo van or similar, and parked continuously, sorry, I got a little rude there, continuously in a parking lot, whether it be Walmart, Home Depot, or whatever, that is the only van life that I would know of where you could actually save money. And the problem with that is going to be, and I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, the problem with that is going to be, what's your quality of life? Because I'm sure you don't want to live in a van so that you can be parked in a Walmart parking lot. Sorry if I went on and on about that. I'm going to make a whole video about this because, really, as far as people living in their van out of necessity, and I see that, there's, I'm not trying to offend anyone, but there's a Class A that pulled in, and I'm guessing they, necessity, and there's a C over there, Class C, necessity. And I know that for sure because they have a Class C parked in the parking lot and they have a car beside it. So they drive the car to work, car back to the camper. So what's happened is they've gotten evicted or, for whatever reason, thrown out of their home, and their income and credit is not adequate enough to purchase or rent another place, which leaves them, and you could even have, if you think about it, you could have good credit and a good job, and if you had a previous eviction or something, be limited on your options. So what I'm saying is, the people that you see parked in a parking lot, not going anywhere, those are the people that live out of necessity, and that would be your life if you wanted to, quote unquote, save money in a van. Are you still there? If you can get over my bulldog snoring. So anyway, you're talking, $400, $500 a month car payment, another $600. There's $1,100 right there. And just basically not going anywhere. In fact, my TaskRabbit app, if I do my map, the maximum I can draw on the little map, the little heat map that shows me where the jobs are, the maximum I can go is 500 square miles. If I go any larger than that, it it doesn't allow me to save the area. So what I mean by that is I'm spending, $800 a month going back and forth from town to town in a 500 square mile area. Which, don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining. I love what I'm doing. And in fact, I was going to talk about this a little bit tonight. So I'm glad you brought it up. The app, interestingly, what happens is there's an algorithm just like any other app, Uber or Uber Eats or Ride or whatever. There is an app that has an algorithm, and essentially you sign up for it, for the service, and it's free. You have to have a background check. You have to pay. It's $25. And once they get the background check back, you basically open up the app, and it has all these different categories: furniture assembly, yard work, heavy lifting and hauling, personal assistant, and like I think there's 30 different categories. Each one of the categories has a radio button. You turn it off or on. So in other words, it has electrical and plumbing. So in other words, if you're going, you know what, I'll do some yard work and I'll do some heavy lifting, but I don't want to do any personal assistant stuff, and I don't want to do any house cleaning, okay? You just don't toggle those on. So you'd be working out of, I'm talking about working on the Tasker app. And I live in a van. So it's a TaskRabbit app. And by the way, the TaskRabbit app is owned by IKEA. So whenever they go through, whenever you purchase something at IKEA, as you go through the checkout line, they will tell you about the app. And then when you open the app up, you see that it's more than just IKEA furniture assembly. So back to the question at hand: how much can you make? And this is what I will tell you. The more you're on the app and the better you do, you get ratings by each customer. The higher up the list you'll go, and the more jobs, more requests for work you'll get. Here in California, what the app does is in each category, it recommends an hourly rate. So if you go to LA, it gives you, I'm sliding my finger back and forth so you can't see that. It gives you this. It has red, yellow, green, and it'll say you start out like $20 an hour to be green. And you go 21, 22, 23, and it turns yellow. So it says, now you're getting, if you're in the green, you're good to go. If you get in the yellow, you're in the highest, like 10%. And when it goes red, it says you're overpricing yourself. But if that's what you want to do, go for it, big boy. It literally says that. So you save your hourly rate, and in each category it's different. So IKEA assembly for me is $27 an hour. If I do electrical, and I'm not an electrician, so in other words, I'm installing a ceiling fan, that's $45 an hour. And basically what they do is they have a task and they request you. They search in the app, you pop up, and they go, hey, I need you to help me lift some furniture. And you go, okay, cool. How many hours is it going to be? What's your estimate? And they go, and they can see your hourly rate. Now it's different. Tasker charges a certain hourly rate and pays you a certain hourly rate. But they can see the hourly rate for that task. And they say, I want to hire you to move some junk. It's going to take about 3 hours. And you go, okay. What I do is I schedule them for like 4, 5, because a lot of times it runs over, but also I want a cushion between jobs. What's great about the app, so to answer your question, on mine specifically here in LA, it goes from 27 to, I think one of my categories is 52 an hour. And for example, one of my highest is 45 an hour for plumbing. And what I do in plumbing is I install faucets, shower heads, simple stuff. I'm not, remodeling well, I guess I did a little bit, but not remodeling bathrooms and wiring houses. Okay. So, again, hourly rate, time varies per job. The better you do, And by the way, I have all 5-star reviews. I do all 5-star in several categories. The higher your rating, the more probability of landing, being requested to do work. And then the work depends on the customer, be it what the category and the time. And you can do same-day tasking. And it's interesting. It's cool because it actually has a map for same day. This is the map for same day. And then it has a bigger map for weekly. So in other words, I can reduce the search area, my availability with the app for same day task. I don't want to drive from here. You know, I don't want it to be 7 o'clock in the morning, not whatever time I start. You can start whatever time you want. You just enter that time in. 5 o'clock, start at 5, end at 5. I start at 9 and end at 7. I jump around, sorry. So you have the map and you have your time, your availability, and someone can request you. And same day request, I make my radius smaller. That way I don't have a long way to drive, because it could be 9 o'clock and they're requesting me for noon. And it takes time to get there and park. And then what's cool about it is if I wake up one morning and don't want to work at all, I just don't turn the app on. This is not turning the app on. I don't know why I'm doing that. So, and if I do, I turn it on. If I want to be available but not same day, I can choose that too. So I can be available but have my same day availability off. Right? It's pretty cool. You know, I had to say one drawback, and I'm shown at like 95%, 97%. So I get requests fairly often, but I don't know that it would be any sort of income. You know, it's not enough income to support. Sorry, it's not enough. That's the light telling me it's time to shut up. It's not enough to support this life, or at least the life that I have. Okay, did that answer your question? We've hit on a lot of good topics. I'm going to make videos about each one of these topics. And if there's anything else, you can ask now. Sorry for that. You can ask now, or you can ask me to make a video about it. Think about that. Some dry skin on my head. Okay, is anyone still there? Do you have any questions? It's been 42 minutes. Here I go again. Yes, good side hustle. And from what I understand, and I only delved a little bit into this, is that there are many apps that do this. This TaskRabbit app's not the only one. There's another one called Gig Today or something similar, Gig Work, something like that. And it does the same thing. The reason I haven't jumped on those is you have to pay a subscription. With this one you don't. You just have to pay for your background check, $25. So yeah, and one of the good things about it is they give you a little promo deal. So you just go into like your promotion, and it has like this I don't really actually think it's an IP address. It's a hyperlink. They give you this little hyperlink, and you can cut that. And what I did, and I don't know how well it's worked, probably not because I'm not in San Diego, but I got on like Facebook Marketplace and then pasted that. So it basically says, here's TaskRabbit, and this is Vincent Hamilton, the tasker, and here are his 5-star ratings. And, you know, so then they can just go, oh, wow, what the hell is this? Click on the hyperlink, and not only does it take them to the app, but then within the app, it takes them to my profile, and it gives them 10% off. Okay? So what I'm saying is you can promote yourself. You can take that, put it on Craigslist, put it on Facebook, cut and paste it anywhere. And then anyone can go, you know, right onto your app and see your ratings. And of course they know you're through TaskRabbit and you have the background check and all of that stuff. Right? So, sorry, I'm getting tired. It's a good side hustle, and probably if you had 3 of the apps going at once, you could live off of it. And I will also say this before I go. I have encountered, while doing this, I've encountered 3 separate people, 3 that do this full time. And they have 3. They all had worked it for 3 years. I guess that's when it came out. So in other words, I spoke with a guy. Actually, I spoke with a guy and his wife, and they said they've been doing it. They have a business of their own. And what's good about it, God, I'm going to keep going on about this app, aren't I? What's good about it is they pay you on a 1099. So that money is all tax, it's not taxed. And then at the end of the year, you can claim your van payment, your insurance, a portion of your cell phone bill. And more importantly, this is what I do or intend to do with my van, with my engineering firm, is claim depreciation. And that's why I purchased a new van. See how I circled back around to that? So in other words, I got a new van and an expensive van because it is my business, and got it for tax purposes. And I mean, also because I wanted a nice van. But if you're in your head, if you're going, why in the hell would you buy a $238,000 van? That's why. I have a business. I'm an engineering consultant, believe it or not. Anyway, yes, good side hustle. And, I mean, I don't want to give away my income, but you can make, I'll give you a range. You can make like between 11 and 1,500 a month. With, and not, you're not working, obviously you're not working, you're not working 40 hours a week. But yeah, that's, so to give you a little background on that, I have been an engineer now for 24 years, and in 2021, I became a consultant working contractually in 2016, contractually as an engineer. And in 2021, I opened my own LLC for tax purposes and because I want to be a small business owner. So in 2022, I then, this van became, I don't know, you want to call it the business, or the van became a work vehicle. So, because if you want to claim depreciation on a vehicle through a business, it has to be like 2019 or newer. And, obviously, the more expensive the van, the more expensive the vehicle, the more you can claim. You can claim it all in 1 year or over a 5-year period. And you can claim a high percentage, if not all of it, where if you have an LLC at your home, like if you have a bedroom, and I don't know that you can do this anymore, even. You can claim a portion of your square footage. So anyway, so if you're going, why did you buy a van instead of build it? That's one of the reasons why. I wanted it to have a certain value, be nice, and if or maybe you don't know, if you build a van, if you change a cargo van into a conversion van, you okay, Louie? Are you okay? You have to take it to the DMV, and somehow they do an assessment, an evaluation, and I think at that time, I don't know that DMV does this, but you can have an assessment on the value of the van, because you'll need that for when you get it insured. You don't want to insure a cargo van, a conversion van. You okay, Louie? Jump up there. Are you okay, dude? You don't want to insure a conversion van as a cargo van, because if you have a loss, you'll only be reimbursed for a cargo van, not a conversion van. So, again, if you purchase a used van, it has to be 2019 or newer in order to claim depreciation or for it to be a business vehicle. And the advantage to that, of course, is that if you purchase a new vehicle, you get a much different finance rate than a used vehicle. So potentially you could have a used vehicle that's cheaper and the payment be just as much or more, maybe, because you wouldn't be able to finance it for as long, which is true. You cannot finance a used RV for 20 years, and you get a much higher interest rate. Does that all make sense? So when you and one of I'm jumping around. Oh my God. So even with TaskRabbit, you will want to. It would behoove you to open an LLC. And what I did is I just went to LegalZoom, and they offer different packages. You know, I think it starts at like $250 and goes up to like $450 or something like that. And they'll get the business license for you and everything. And then what you can do is itemize your taxes, even with TaskRabbit, and that's what I intend to do. Again, I don't know what my yearly income will be on TaskRabbit, but I will be able to claim fuel, meals, parking, toll roads, vehicle maintenance, registration, license, cell phone bill, all of that. Okay? This turned out to be a whole educational thing, right? An educational broadcast. Are you still there? I'm not even going to charge you for this. It's true. True story. I'm going to be a consultant for people purchasing and living in vans for $25 an hour. You can talk to me and ask me any question. Yeah, no worries. I'm glad that you enjoyed it, and I don't know how you found me. I mean, I don't know how it works on YouTube, but check out my videos. You're already a subscriber. If you haven't already, check out my videos. And again, if there's anything you want to see, just write me a question. Okay? All right. Have a good evening.